All right, how do we see character education? How do we see civil education? And once again, although we may be able to split some differences, they definitely are so correlated in looking at this. I think we have to see it as part of the ethos or life of the school. It's every aspect of what we do. It's when the boys and girls come into the school. How do the boys and girls get on the bus? How are they greeted? How do we transition between one place in the school and the other? What are the expectations in our school? What about the athletics in our school if we're middle or high school? Are we individuals who emphasize sportsmanship, playing with honor, or do we do anything to win? So I think it has to permeate the whole ethos or life of the school. And I would even argue that it is possible to impact on the community with what the school does. One school district I worked at got a broad-based faith community involved in the school. Rather than saying, no, we don't want you, let's all gather around and have discussions on this. They had emirs from mosques that were connected to this. They had people from the synagogue, people within the Christian tradition, and others that would have been in other secular groups. It could be like Rotary or something, all within the school because they understood we were really talking about a shared mission. And we're not stepping on anyone's toes. We are about developing the complete child in doing this. So if we look upon this as the life of the school, then it really makes it easier to begin making changes because it's what we want to be. It's what we want our boys and girls to be, and it's kind of based on common sense. Because if this is done correctly, then our school's a happier place. You're happier, faculty's happier, parents are happier. Why would you want this? Because I've never met a parent that did not want their boys and girls, their children, to be kind and caring. They may have no idea how to do it, but if you talk to them, that's what they want. Or, as Marvin Berkowitz has said so many times, it makes sense to me, character education is simply good education. That's it, it's good education. Who wouldn't want this? I'm really glad. My daughter tomorrow, I think, gets hired for it. She calls it her first big girl job. I said, what's a big girl job? She went, benefits. That makes it a big girl job. Benefits, Dad, benefits, and all of this. I know she's smart enough. She's a smart young lady. But I pray she's good enough, that she's a good person. I think she is. I think you can count her. I think she has integrity about her. So it's the whole education. Character education is good education, and the civil school enables this. The civil school, in some ways, creates the foundation for this to occur. Now, let's spend some time looking at some definitions. And I'm a big believer in the use of definitions. Years ago, I was working with a school district, and they were determined they were going to have 9 traits a month. Now, I don't want to get into that. 9 traits a year, excuse me, 1 a month to focus on. They actually did some pretty decent stuff. But the one stipulation was if we cannot come up with a definition we agree upon, we go to Webster's or the New World Dictionary, and that becomes the definition of something. So I'm a person that still uses dictionaries. And if we look at the words civility, civilized and civil, they're defined in the following way. If it's a noun, civility, courteous behavior, politeness. How many of you think that courtesy matters? Holding the doors for someone, speaking politely. One of the things I used to teach, because I did a lot of seminar teaching, how to disagree without being disagreeable. Wouldn't it be wonderful if government could do that? It's okay to disagree, but I can disagree with you without being a disagreeable person. I believe in politeness. Tom Lacona calls politeness many morals. Many morals. I love that. Because if I'm polite to you, if I hold the door for you, if I wait my turn, if I speak in a polite manner to you, if I say thank you, please, pardon me, most likely I'm going to create a better environment for everyone concerned. Politeness matters. Okay, school climate. For years I have been a reader of anyone writing about school climate, about what school climate is and what type of climate we ought to have. And this is one in which I believe, and I don't have the citation, I think it's out of 2 guys out of the University of Virginia. But it's at a minimum the kind of social climate we envision is where everyone treats others with consideration and respect, in which mannerly behaviors and small courtesies are the norm. Do you think that's important? Can we build this in a school? Where mannerly behaviors and small courtesies are the norm. And that we have this established in our school. By the way, when I say established, it is first of all modeled by whom? The staff. How many of you have wonderful cafeteria workers that speak to children? Do any of you have cafeteria workers that look at kids and go, "What do you want? What do you want?" You see the difference there? I was at a school in West Virginia, one of the greatest schools I've ever been in to this day, Tyler County High School. Highly impoverished school economically. You walk in that school, you think it's the richest school in this country. What that school does, everyone involved, it's a pleasure to be there. And one of the things that I was always amazed at was the love that the cafeteria workers had towards the children of that school. If some child needed some extra food, that child got food. There was a way to do it. They got the same amount of money every other school cafeteria got in the country, but they somehow made it go further. They were always checking on their children, asking them, telling them, "Here, take an extra apple, do this," always wanting to know in the community. They would come into the schools and say, "So-and-so is having difficulty here. What can we do?" It was incredible. But the other thing I was amazed about, they knew the names of every child in that school. Those cafeteria workers, when those little kids kind of moved their way up there, they would try to learn their names, and I would go there and you'd see kids. "Janelle, how are you today?" "I'm fine." "Good, good. I saw you last night down at Walmart. Didn't have time to speak to you, but saw you there." Does that matter to a child? Another adult doing something like that? You see, this isn't simply about the teachers doing this. It's about everyone getting involved in this. All right, well, let's expand that. We just talked about cafeteria workers. Do custodians matter? How many of you work in a school where the custodian thinks it is his or her school and you're just occupying space? Or as one custodian told me one time, "I was here before you got here. I'll be here after you leave." No, it was his school. I went into this school was so old. Years ago, remember, we used to put hardwood floors in schools. Do any of you still have hardwood? You do in your schools? He would come in on Saturdays at this elementary school and polish the floors for the children on Monday. He didn't have to do that. And this is a true story. The school won the cleanest school award 4 years in a row. And this other principal never did anything with him. And he had those awards with thumbtacks in his custodial office. A new principal came in and saw that and said, "What are they?" He said, "Well, I've won this 4 years in a row." And he said, "Do you mind if could I take these for just a while?" And he went, "Yes." This principal went out and tore off someplace, got them framed, and within 2 hours, they were hanging right outside the door of the office going in there. And the custodian, tears came to his eyes. That custodian loved those children, or he wouldn't have been there on Saturdays. So do custodians matter? Do guidance counselors matter? Any of you ever worked with a guidance counselor that didn't love children? Like the one who told my mother I was too dumb to go to college? I think she loved her paycheck. I don't think she loved the children. Do social workers matter? Now let me get to the other one. How about office personnel? Because I got a story about that. I used to fly a lot and go to different places, and August used to be where I would go do a lot of keynotes and stuff, and just really I'm up there just telling jokes and doing typical keynote type stuff. Sometimes it would be a day of training afterwards or working with schools. I rented the car. It was very late. I found the place at about 2 in the morning, the hotel I was staying at, 2 or 3. And of course, when you're that wound up, it's hard to sleep. Next morning, found my way to the high school, walked in about 15 to 8, walked into the office. The office secretary honestly looked at me and said, "What do you want?" Not making this up. She was on the phone talking. I said, "I'm here. I'm supposed to be doing the keynote." And I knew there were preliminary stuff, like the opening of school, but I don't like to walk in late. I like to be there when all that's going on. And I think I was going on at 9 o'clock for 2 hours or something. And she said, "Have a seat. Someone will come and get you." And I do as I'm told. I sat right down. 5 minutes till 8, this person came running up there. "Is Phil Vincent here?" And she looked at me and said, "Are you Phil Vincent?" I went, "Yes." She said, "Welcome." She was just wonderful. And she said, why didn't you, said, why didn't you come down here? And honestly, the secretary said, he's not my responsibility. Someone should have been here. Went right on talking. I went down, did all the stuff, and I had lunch with the superintendent, new superintendent afterwards. And he asked, we were talking, I said, may I just give you one little word of advice? And he went, sure. He said, that'd be fine. I said, well, I shouldn't say this, but I'd replace that secretary at that high school office if I were you. And he went like, you've heard? I went, oh no, I've experienced. And he said, I've been told this is a problem. And I said, I don't think she likes people, but I bet there's a job at the central office for someone who can process things and do stuff, and she may be phenomenal at that. I don't believe in destroying people's lives. I do believe in doing something. They made the change. I was back there a few months later. I walked in the office. As soon as I walked in, this lady came up and was like, hi, are you Dr. Vincent? And I went, yes, ma'am, I am. Well, come here, sweetie. Big hug. She said, you want some tea? I just made a fresh pot. And it's not, if you're in Georgia, we're not talking about hot tea here. We're talking about sweet tea, you know, the type you take a drink of and your head blows off the top. I said, no, ma'am, I'm fine. Well, come on in here. And I was thinking, why is this with me? She was doing it with everyone. Kids were walking by, students, waving to her. And she would wave, come in here, giving students hugs, teachers and everything. I went to the principal and I said, it is so nice here. He looked at me and said, isn't it great? Man, it's just a joy to come to school. That's what can happen with office personnel. So I'm just putting this out to you. If you've got office personnel who do not like children, that are not kind and considerate, you may want to see if somebody can help you find another place for them to practice their love rather than just your school, because office personnel matter. Do bus drivers matter? This is an important message. From the time you get on the bus till you get home, we are there. And what we do matters greatly. And I guess what I'm saying is everyone has to be tied into this, folks. This isn't about you. This is about everyone. I want your character committee to be the most sought after committee in school to be on. I want it to be the one that people are fulfilling their bliss with. I want it to be the one that people are saying, this is why I teach. And I don't want just teachers on it. I want cafeteria workers on it. I want custodial staff. I want parents. I want everyone who wants to contribute on this.